Welcome everyone to the third presentation for this series of webinars from Box Hill Institute. My name is Mark Newhook and I'm going to move along my slides when they move along. Before I start talking to you about our prefab courses, I want to talk to you about how these courses came into being. You would have heard my colleague Xavier last week talk about his two BIM courses, the course in the Advanced Diploma in Building Information Modelling. My two courses I'll be talking about today are the course in of Prefabricated Building Systems Timber and the Diploma of Project Management in Prefabricated Building System Timber. Quite a mouthful, but that's our qualification. Our four qualifications are funded by the Victorian State Government's Workforce Training and Innovation Fund, otherwise known as the WITF program. And the state government had concerns around the gap between what industry needs and what TAFE is providing, and is trying to bring the two together to address emerging skill gaps that aren't addressed by our national training packages. And do you like that building on the right-hand side? It's quite a beautiful building, isn't it? I'll talk a bit about that later on. So the construction area is starting to look at emerging technologies in which cross-laminated timber, which we use a lot of here now, and post and beam structures are being more commonplace in the building industry. When you look at the building on the right and how beautiful it is, it's hard to imagine that this timber building is using post and beam and CLT. And to me, it's an architectural symphony, and it was designed by the architects Bates and Smart from Brisbane. It shows that we're in a gradual uptake in the prefabricated market in Australia, with a projected growth of the prefab of about 5% per year up till 2023. As compared to 2.3 for the rest of the building industry. However, the federal government is asking why Australia is sitting around 3 to 5%, when in Germany prefabricated timber building systems account for 20% of buildings in both the domestic and commercial markets. So it's a big jump from us to them. There have been many changes to our National Construction Code, the NCC, where prefabricated timber provides another solution for builders and clients to consider when designing buildings for mid-rise and office accommodation. So what's changed in our National Construction Code? Well, we now have a deemed to satisfy provisions up to 25 metres or 8 stories using timber as a structure of a building, or we can provide a performance solution when the code doesn't cover certain aspects of our build. The good thing about the deemed to satisfy provision is that it's set to like a recipe that you can follow when adhering to the National Construction Code guidelines. And what happens now in the use of timber, we can use it in other classifications rather than just the Class 1. We can use it in fire protected building systems such as Class 2, 3 and 5, which now cover apartments, hotels and office buildings up to 8 stories. This is our industry steering group. These are the people who work with Box Hill in the initial stages to get these qualifications up and running. And everyone from our steering group has a unique opportunity to impact the construction area in areas of sustainability, advanced technology, and most of all, are sensitive to the timber construction industry. Exclaim Australia, the manufacturer of CLT, have been instrumental in the design and allocation of panels for our practical working model, due to start assembly at the end of this month. It's something I've been working on. I've just come over the road to come and talk to you about this course, and we're going to have a practical exercise happening at the end of this month. Syngin have already provided valuable staff and resources for our training content for our learning management system. That's a system we call Student Web. And this will be the hub of all your learning when you come to do these 3 units of competency. Wood Solutions, who you probably know already, and are great proponents of marketing timber in the timber industry or the building industry, have provided us many valuable resources, their time and guest speakers such as Boris Iskra, Paolo, and amazing support from Alistair, Adam and Lawrence. You'll meet them if you talk to people at Wood Solutions. Lend-Lease, Atelier Projects, Carbon Light and Himmel Zimmer have also provided a great deal of time and resource, and especially direction for those courses to be at the forefront of building technology. And one might call that building technology building 4.0. All right, well, let's get back to this building here, I promised you. Did anybody guess what the building was? It's the Adena Hotel, and they chose to vertically extend their existing concrete building by 10 levels using cross-laminated timber. And as a result, they did not have to underpin their foundations, as cross-laminated timber is 1/5 the weight of concrete, thereby reducing the impact on the extension, or on the foundations of the extension. And the vertical extension required 5,300 tonnes of CLT, and that offset 4,900 tonnes of CO2. So it took out that much carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. Where CLT takes out carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, concrete manufacture puts in roughly 1 tonne per 1 cubic metre of concrete made. Now, if you do your maths in your head and you work out all that detail, I came up with 26,500 tonnes of carbon that was put into the atmosphere making concrete, as opposed to 4,900 tonnes taken out using CLT. So good saving. In addition, they used an electric crane, which limited the noise impact around that surrounding area. And the bathrooms are a modular construction, so the bathrooms were made completely off-site and then craned in on-site. And at the time, the Adena South Bank was the tallest mass timber vertical extension in the world. And this building was developed by Hume's Property. Was it Hume's Partners Property? I think it was. Okay, let's get a look at the 2 prefab courses on offer. These are the ones I'm delivering. The first one on the left is the course in for prefabricated building systems and timber. It's designed for carbons or people in that construction industry who would like to experience what it is like to install other prefab systems, rather than that traditional truss and wall frames that we'd normally do in carpentry. At Box Hill, we offer the opportunity to erect a CLT frame, a glulam post and beam structure, and a passive house design with a cassette floor. The second prefab course on offer is the Diploma of Project Management in Prefabricated Building Systems Timber. Again, this is a mouthful to say. This course allows for people in the construction sector to have an exposure to building classes other than Class 1 as found in that domestic housing sector. First of all, let's have a look at the course units that you'll be required to undertake. The first 2 units in both courses are the same. And if you've recently done a Cert 3 in construction or carpentry and joinery, you'll see that they're the same units you would have done. And we can RPL those units in both courses. The other one is they're carrying out, setting out in the prefab area. That's another one you carpenters would have seen as well. The applied building codes is common in both units again, or both competencies. And if you've done a design course and a diploma of a design course or a Cert 4 in construction, you would have already done something very similar to this applied building codes, and we can RPL for you for that course. The 5th unit in the course in is the one I'm really excited about, and that's the putting together of a seal structure, the post and beam structure, which is done by glulam, and the passive house. We should be running that one at the end of the week. I've got a little video to show you of us putting it up, and it'll come after this slide. In the diploma, we've got 5 units which are showing you the BIM. There's some BIM units there, building information modelling, and a virtual reality subject, which is very exciting. And there's another video I've got a bit later on where we're combining the traditional with the BIM. The last 3 units, we'll just get rid of these, are the units you'll be doing mid-year intake. These are funded under the WITF program, so they're free for you guys to do, but as long as you finish them by the end of the year. The other 5 units you can enrol for next year and finish the course, provided that you've got RPL for the other 3 units. I'm just going to run this little video here. And this is us putting up the prefab building. We've got a whole new section here where we can put up a new building. We've laid the floor plates down, which they're doing now. We're going to bolt all those together. These panels weigh upward of 400 kilograms, so they're very heavy. We've got you can see the crane in the background that'll lift all our panels for us. And now the boys are starting to lay out the brackets. Screw all those down. Very precise. We ran an erection of the unit today, and we put it up in 3 hours straight, so it was pretty good effort. So here we're doing a trial run. We're going to put the whole unit up first, do a trial run, make sure it all works properly, and then we put it back up again today. So now we'll start bringing in the first panel. These props are called giraffe props, and they'll hold up all the walls, they'll brace all the walls. So we have all those up. As you can understand, a wall's quite heavy, 400 odd kilograms. You can see how the props hold the walls up so they're nice and sturdy. And now we've gone round to the other side to get a view of the building going up. So this is a building that the apprentices or students who are attending our prefab course will undertake. This is one of the builds that we do in the CLT panels. Look like they're working very fast, don't they? And here comes the stair. So that's a whole stair made out of cross-laminated timber. That stair there weighs 420 kilograms. So it's a very heavy stair, but it went in quite well. So now we're going to do the top floor plates in the first floor. So we'll top out at the first floor. And everything is designed and programmed with CNC machines using a Tekla program. So all the joints for all the panels are half lapped, and then they're screwed together through that half lap. Due to the constraints of our building, we couldn't get the long walls in one piece, so we had to bring them in different sections to get them through the doors. In that stage, we had to pull down the doors to get them in anyway. So now they're screwing off the whole floor, first floor. I think there was a bit of an OH&S issue there. And these are the parapet. We're going to have a parapet going around part of the top floor. And we're going to show you what a box gutter looks like, a flat roof with a box gutter parapet wall frame. And on the other end, which is towards that column, we're going to have a hip roof or a gable truss roof. So it just shows you two different ways of finishing off the build. And this video was made just yesterday too, so I just got it back yesterday and hoping it all runs well today. Okay, that's our video. So that's quite exciting for us. A lot of, oops, we're going again, are we? Video. All right, we better get on to the diploma. I want to explain to you a bit more about the 3 units of competency that we're offering for our mid-year intake. I think it's better for me to explain how each unit of competency applies to you. The first one, managed project integration, really describes the skills and knowledge required of you to integrate and balance overall project management functions, such as scope, time, quality, human resources, could be communications, risk and procurement across the life cycle of a project. In essence, this unit mainly applies to those of you who are responsible for managing and leading projects. The second unit, plan and manage complex projects, requires you to plan, control and finalise complex projects, which will work out with you which is suitable if you have a project of your own you want to do. And you're required to manage projects of significant scope, so not just a house or a barn or a shed, but something with significant scope and duration, as well as managing a project team. And with that, it involves probably a lot of reporting requirements, so making sure you've got everything, all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. If you plan and manage a project effectively, you should be able to deliver the required outcomes on time and within budget. The third unit requires you to plan and deliver a prefabricated timber building using critical path analysis. So it's up to you to develop realistic timeframes from start to completion. And you must anticipate variations in planning for these contingencies along the way. And what happens if you're halfway through a build and COVID comes along? I mean, a lot of builders must have had that same situation. So what do? And I've got building experience preferred there. The first point. The course will provide students with the skill sets to conduct project management activities with a focus on prefabricated building systems. And the methodology we teach in this course is from the Project Management Body of Knowledge, also known as PMBOK. You've probably heard of that before. PMBOK is one of the 2 leading project management methodologies in industry and is adopted internationally by the Project Management Institute. And our objective for this course is to provide you with the knowledge and skill sets to apply processes within PMBOK to manage projects such as plan, execute, monitor, and close projects out. It's tricky, I can't see my thing. That's it. Sorry about that, guys. I've lost my PowerPoint. As we know, project management is more than just a Gantt chart. The projects don't exist until we have a project sponsor who sponsors the project. In our industry, there are competing projects and investments the clients must decide on. So yours better be a good one if you want to win it. We will show you how to develop a project business case, as well as identify stakeholders for the project and develop negotiation skills to gain sign-off for a project, as represented by these people here. So if you present a poorly defined project, you might be heading for a court case or a mediation due to late deliveries and budget overruns, which means it is important that good initial project planning will lead to satisfactory project outcomes. And you will learn to define project requirements using that SMART principle we've got up here to ensure that these requirements are specific, measurable, acceptable, reasonable, and time-bound. Generally, cost estimation is a discipline on its own, but we'll show you a bit about the cost estimates for the project business case and project management plan. This is often the deciding factor for whether a project is given the go-ahead. We'll also show you different estimating techniques and how to apply these to your projects. We will also show you how to identify and classify project risks and track them through a project risk register. We also touch on mitigation techniques to reduce the projects to a level acceptable to the client, which is very important. Well, here's the Gantt chart. You've all seen these before, but we want to talk about the breakdown your project into smaller phases and components to better track project progress. And once you've developed your project work breakdown structure, you can then build a project schedule. So the project schedule might include cost and time estimates, relationships of project tasks, dates and progresses, and the most important, the critical path. But one little glitch is that Microsoft Project is a requirement of this unit of competency. So hopefully most of you have access to this program because it is not free and not offered free on an educational license. I love the beauty of these timber buildings. Anyway, I'll digress here a bit. Once you have the project plan and schedules, you will now be able to monitor the project progress and define how project completion and handover will be managed. As we all know, practice makes perfect, and part of the completion is capturing any lessons that you've learned that you can apply to future projects. Also, closing out projects will also involve ensuring that all conditions in the project contract have been conveyed or covered. We're going to use a practical case study for this assessment task from the building shown in the slide, unless you have an upcoming project you want to use. But our scenario will have you manage the internal fit out of one residential level in this 7-storey prefabricated timber. It's a mixed use building. Down the bottom we have a retail stores, and on the top we've got seven stories of apartments. And this will synthesize your understanding of timber building systems with project management principles. Additionally, during project planning, you will need to engage with industry specialists and catalogues to plan your prefabricated component orders in the build. And with this type of fabrication, especially CLT, you need earlier contract involvement. And as part of the course, you're required to audit design plans, if you haven't done so already, as well as addressing building procedures and risks which are pretty good skill sets to have in this industry. This is the apartment level. And when you start to get an idea of project management and its complexities, you'll start to develop an eye for problematic designs, like a bathroom right behind the master bedroom, and when the toilet flushes you, it'll wake you up. Those sort of things, you get an eye for it. And working with suppliers and industry experts will help you develop a sense of what items have long lead times, and you can plan for that contingency. So the project management principles and tools learned here in this course can also be transferred to non-timber building projects. I've got another slide here, and when I first saw the slide, I was really excited. I've never seen something like this before. It was something with old traditional Gantt charts, but something to do with BIM, and it brought the two together. And let's just run through this video and you can have a look at it. I'll turn the sound off. So the shed looks familiar to you. It's the shed we just put up in our training hub. So this is a Revit design. It's been, and the panels have all been numbered in sequence. I'm showing you the Revit drawing. There's the stairs that we put up in the CLT build. And there's all the panels numbered. And it goes into a program called Navisworks. This is its interface. And it's changing the Revit model. Now that's the Gantt chart we had a look at before. And that's the build. But what it does next is amazing to me. That little green bar there is one of the bearers for the shed. So as the Gantt chart is moving along the timeline, the panels for the CLT shed are going up in the time frame. When my class had a look at this, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. You normally just see a Gantt chart in project and that's it. But here's it being acted out in real life. Almost the panel sequences are about the same as what we did on the build. The panels missing there. All the while the timeline's going along the bottom as that's being corrected. So just imagine giving your contractors these animated timelines. The builder, the electrician, the plumber, all these different trades that all have this running timeline, the Gantt chart, and they'd know where they had to be at a certain time, and everybody be on the same page. To me, that's a great collaborative understanding and a good way for us to move forward in these times. So we're coming to the end of the webinar, but first I'd like, oh, this one here. Sorry, I'm doing it again. This is my closing slide, and on the left shows the aesthetic look of the glue-lam product, and you can see that beautiful bracing effect of the glue-lam beams. Thanks for listening today. I believe there's a short video by Box Hill for the enrolment process, and I will take any questions after that. Thank you again. Chat line here.
Ready to apply at Box Hill Institute? The first step is to contact us by calling 1300 Box Hill, submitting an inquiry through our website or via live chat. We're here to answer all your questions and ensure we find a course that's right for you. We will email you an application pack, which will include a link to start your application. The application will take about 30 minutes to complete and submit. Make sure you have your ID and your proof of residency handy, such as your Medicare card or your passport, as you'll need to upload a photo of this to your application. As part of the application pack, you may be required to complete a language literacy numeracy profile. This is to ensure that you meet the entry requirements into the course and for us to support you in your studies. The profile will take you around 90 minutes and must be completed in one sitting. The other one is a pre-training review document, which will ask you questions about your interests, your aspirations, your career goals, and your prior study. Once completed, you will need to upload both documents to your online application. Depending on the course that you're applying for, you may be required to submit extra documents, such as a subject selection form, a workplace declaration form, or an under 18 parent/guardian consent form. You may also be required to watch an online information session as part of your course. This will be discussed with you when you inquire. Once your application has been submitted, you may be required to attend an interview or an audition remotely. We will contact you if you're required to do this. After this, our team will be in touch to book an appointment to finalise your application. This appointment will be conducted over the phone, where we will run you through the pre-training review. This will include timetable information, fees, and student support. Once we have finalised your application, we will email you a conditional letter of offer. You'll need to follow the steps to accept your offer online. To finalise your enrolment, you'll need to make payment. There are several ways to do this, such as a payment plan or vet student loan. We look forward to welcoming you to Box Hill Institute.
Okay. As there are no questions, we'll wrap the session up. Thanks for joining, and hopefully we see you next semester. Thank you all.